joint, going to the studio, just hanging out, and then coming by Motown on your way home at 2 o'clock in the morning and listening to some other people record. You know how Christmas fills the air? Well, it was that kind of atmosphere all the time.
As the tour zigzagged across the UK, the Motown artists soon discovered that, compared to London, life was a little different in the provinces. Madeline Bell is an American singer who based herself in the UK from 1962.
The artists in Motown, they'd all come from the projects, what we call council flats. They'd all come from the projects. And they didn't have that much themselves, but the things that they did have was hot water and radiators in your place. And, you know, there were some things that were just sort of normal to us. And then when we came to the UK, it was different.
I was always so cold. I would put on 2 of my coats. In fact, I remember sleeping once in my boots and my leather jacket. I had to learn how to keep my shillings so that I might have heat all night because the radiators were operated by shillings. You couldn't put too many at one time, so you'd wake up really, really cold and put some more shillings in the machine. I stacked my shillings prior to going to rest.
During their 3-week tour, the British A-roads made the journey seem sluggish and drawn out to the Motown artists who were used to giant American freeways.
It was kind of hard to get used to England because everything seemed like it was like backwards. You know, they drove on the wrong side of the street. And the food was a little different. You had to kind of get used to the food.
We were excited about the fish and chips, so we would always get fish and chips because that was so new for us, you know. And then it was eaten out of a newspaper, you know, that was very exciting. But, you know, wasn't that thrilled about the English food. It was that blood pie or, you know, we're like, oh, I don't know.
Despite the strange food, cold weather, and low attendance at their shows, the Motown artists always felt welcome in the UK.
We were so happy to be here. We were thrilled to be seeing another part of the world that we'd never seen, never experienced, to meet people, to understand that people were basically just the way you are. This was like such a beautiful sort of awakening, especially for black people, to see that, wow, people really like us too. You know, we weren't put down. We were accepted on the merits of our talents.
Their experiences in the UK were in distinct contrast to the very first Motown Revue tour, which traveled through the American Deep South in 1962.
It was actually horrendous. I knew about some of the segregation. However, even though there was segregation in Detroit, it was different than it was in the South.
In 1965, as the Motown UK tour bus approached Gretna in Scotland, a naive practical joke brought the social and cultural differences between the British musicians and black Americans into sharp focus.
We decided it would be a good idea if we held up the coach when it came along. I seem to have a memory of me putting this bullet thing on, perhaps having one of the guns. And we saw the coach coming in the distance. We stepped out into the road. This coach shuddered to a halt in front of us. There were some surprised looks from inside.
What Colin Green didn't realize was that the Motown artists had been shot at during their tour through the American Deep South 3 years earlier.
Actually, we were shot at several times.
I remember occasionally going to a rural gas station and the proprietor coming out with a shotgun. I was a little sleepy and a little slow getting off the bus. 3 of the guys ran into the gas station asking to use the facilities, with the proprietor saying, "Who are you?" And one of the guys said, "Oh, don't you know us? We're the Motown singers. We're famous." And the man said, "I don't care who you are. Get out of my gas station." And he got his gun and proceeded to stop anyone else from getting off the bus, and I was the next one to get off. And I looked and saw this double-barrel shotgun, and I definitely backed up. This man thought we had came to take over his gas station and rob him, and that was was a frightening experience.
Civil rights hadn't really happened. You talk to the guys, you know, they were having to, go check into other hotels. You know, there's a lot of that still going on, which we couldn't believe. We're going, wait a minute, this is America. Isn't this like the land of the free? You know, well, we don't have that. Well, we've got black guys in Liverpool. They don't have to check into other hotels. But we were quite shocked by this whole thing.
In the earlier days, our pictures couldn't be on album covers for fear of, people seeing it and not buying it. But the music spoke for itself.
In the Deep South, the power of Motown's music literally broke down racial barriers.
Many times the audience was divided in half. Blacks were on one side, whites were on the other side, and they had a rope down the middle. Smokey was one of the first people who said that we were not going to perform unless they took that rope down and let everybody sit where they wanted to sit, and they actually did consent to that.
He explained to them our music was dance music and for fun and pleasure. And if they would just step back, they would see that the music is all about love and happiness. And once they stepped down, the audience got up out of those seats, separated seats, and they danced and sang. And when the music stopped, everyone hugged and embraced.
We totally obliterated that thought and that idea of just being race music. It became music for everybody around the world.
From Gretna, the tour bus made its way through Scotland to Glasgow for the Motown show on the 1st of April, 1965.
I was living in Edinburgh at the time, where there was only one black family. So I saw very few black people at all. And really when I saw the girls on the Motown Review, they were just stunning. They had red tasseled dresses on, and they really made the most of their body movements as they sang. And they had a pizzazz that none of the other artists, local artists, seemed to have. They danced well, they dressed well, they just looked incredible, very polished. I had been so impressed by the first show that I went straight back to the box office to see if there were any tickets left for the second show.
Luckily for Michael, Glasgow was no different to the other venues. The crowds didn't come, and it was easy to buy front row tickets for the second performance that evening.
I do know that both Mary and Flo of the Supremes noticed we were back in the front row for the second show, and so made continual eye contact, which for me was my knees were going. I was having my own Supreme mania. After the show finished, we had no way of getting back to Edinburgh, so we just decided to hang around the stage door and at least see the artists leave. When Mary, Diana and Florence of the Supremes came out, we tried to get their attention unsuccessfully. They were shepherded straight into a Cadillac and it drove off. We decided that we would chase it down, which is exactly what we did. It was a rainy, horrible night. Although it was April, it was not a nice evening. We several times almost caught them up as the car would stop at traffic lights, and we could see Mary and Flo watching us out the back window, and eventually Flo asked the driver to pull over, and they stopped the car and we talked to them. They invited us back to their hotel, and my life's never really been quite the same since.
As the teenage Michael Critchley discovered, the Motown show was certainly sexy, but it was never allowed to dominate.
Motown and Berry was very aware that white people wouldn't accept black men particularly if they were too overtly sexual, and I think that was the whole idea behind their look, that they wore beautifully tailored suits and the routines and